So human communication follows a pretty simple hierarchy of what you hear, what you see, and what you read. And after millions of years of evolution, your brain's actually hardwired to process audio signals faster than any visual cues. And humans actually, on average, remember what they hear longer, 36% to 39% longer than what they see or what they read. And for all those advancements and our ability to find things on the internet and locate relevant information, those have largely arrived in the wrong order, and they've forgotten that the basis of how we communicate is actually verbal. And a lot of it's spoken language, or what we consider spoken knowledge. And an entire corpus of knowledge is being lost to the ravages of time because it's not discoverable, it's not measurable, and it's not monetizable. So as Joe mentioned, if you were to go to Google now, there would be a text tab, an image tab, and video tab. There's no audio tab. And then basically what Google's done for text, we're doing for audio. So Backtracks builds technologies that unlock meaning and insight from the spoken word. And we do that using state-of-the-art natural language processing, big data analytics, and machine learning. So when you think about audio, there's the container and the content. There's the pace that I'm speaking, there's the tone, there's what's actually being said. We know every silence and every speech. We know every breath you're taking. We know the cadence and the timing of what's going on, the relationship of the sentiment between what you're saying, the topics, the targets of your words. And we can actually identify speakers, identify concepts, and we have very accurate transcripts that allow you to interlink that data. We can actually reorganize audio content for the particular listener and their behavior. And our first application of our technology is in a very quickly growing space. It's actually the largest growing media category in the world, and it's podcasting. So podcasting grows double-digit percentages year over year, and a lot of people are surprised to learn that more people in the US listen to a podcast in any given week than even listen to Spotify. Yet for all that growth and all that listenership, podcasts are still brought to you by Stamps.com, Casper, Squarespace, and the same advertisers. And it's because technology like ours doesn't exist, that ability to actually target the advertisements and to do something like if you had a woodworking podcast and your audience, there are people that are related to that topic, but you own a lumber store. You have no ability to advertise on a podcast now. If it's a local lumber store that's geographically confined, it doesn't make sense to buy a national ad buy in something like a podcast at all. You can't even do it. And you can't measure the results. So that entire industry has a really low floor right now that can grow a lot if you could do something like dynamic programmatic advertising. It's actually contextually relevant. If you just bought a car, do I need to advertise the car to you? Probably not. So our market size is 19.2 billion and growing as digital radio comes to fruition with two-way signals and people's taste shift more towards just time shifting of media consumption. And that doesn't even take into account the growth in voice assistants and devices, which is 30% year over year. And our analytics for audio actually works in voice assistants as well. So if you can measure what's happening in any stream of audio, which we can do, we can apply that also to voice assistants. So we have largely substitutes, as Joe alluded to as well, and not really direct competitors. And in the podcasting space specifically, where our first target is, a lot of them are more hosting companies that are commodities, that there's downward pressure on price. And we think about them with that, they're the Lycoses and Altavistas of the world, and then we're actually bringing real technology to play here. So they're just trying to collect basically monthly fees, and they're all competing downward on price and copying each other. And there's not real innovation going on where they can leapfrog anybody. They're always competing for price, and we don't compete on price at all. So far we've processed over 6.5 billion minutes of audio, hundreds of millions of audio analytics events. And we've done that for over 30 marquee customers, including Y Combinator, McKinsey & Company, Dell, Stripe, and more. In the first quarter, we did over 11K in revenue. We have 5% month-over-month growth, but our ARR is actually growing faster than that since the end of the quarter, so we'll be over 65K in ARR. The way we actually make money is through recurring subscriptions, ad hoc meter charges. Think that someone elects to do a particular service, and then in the future, On matching supply and demand in an ad exchange, we'll take a 10% commission of meeting that demand. And we are the sole provider and collector of the depth of data that we're doing. The actual specification for open podcast analytics and audio analytics is our specification. We wrote it. And so the slide with parts, many words, basically says that we actually know what we're doing. We've worked on navigation systems for NASA, worked on over 30 albums, voted in the Grammy Awards, have applied math master's degree, worked on high throughput payment processing systems for American Express, Visa, at an e-commerce tech company that was scaled from 3 to 50 people. That tech was actually bought by a company across the street. And our team can really deliver in this space, and our expertise is in the intersection of audio and technology when you really break it down. So we're raising $2 million to accelerate the pace of innovation and help our customers know and grow their audience and their audio content. We're actually going to do something kind of crazy and demo at Demo Day. And so just imagine that I'm as good as Steve Jobs was at this thing. Actually, I'm just going to wing it. Backtracks, engage. Always fun to demo live. Backtracks, engage. Backtracks, engage. Okay, this worked perfectly, of course. Backtracks, engage. Search for welcome.
Just sit down.
Sit down.
Okay. Search for welcome. Clear search. Filter search to Lisa. Filter speaker to Lisa. Scroll to bottom. Scroll to top. Reset search. Filter speaker to Laura Graves. Layer motion. Scroll to top. Reset search. Layer emotion. Scroll to top. Player open transcript. Player play. Player unmute.
2017 conference call. At this time, all participants
So just to give you
will
a quick overview of what we just did, despite the technical difficulties. This is actually an application of our technology where it's analyzing an earnings call for the sentiment behind what the actual speakers on the call are saying. And if you want to know what a CEO said or what a particular executive said, imagine being able to analyze that, trade on that. And all the audio interaction I actually did was measured in excruciating detail, down to knowing what postal code I did it in, down to knowing all those audio characteristics about what I mentioned earlier. So it knew how long I actually played the audio, it knew the textual equivalent of what I was playing. If there were any links here, they'd automatically be identified. If somebody spoke, in this example, this is an AMD earnings call. If they said AMD.com, you could click on AMD.com. If they said we're at AMD, you could click on that.
Click on show annotations.
Oh, well, I'll do this. Show products. Show products. Show people. Show dates. Show money. Show percentages. Scroll to top. Scroll to top. Show all annotations. Layer emotion. Reset search. So in that, identified all products mentioned. I could have identified all companies, all monetary amounts, all dates, etc. And being able to do that is an extremely useful skill in a variety of industries. And so our first application is in podcasting, but this is obviously an example of how you could apply this to earnings calls or any meeting that you're going through. I want to know in an earnings call every monetary amount, every date, how that relates to it. I want to know every fearful thing the CEO said, every positive thing. I want to know the interrelation between that. You could even layer in your timing and your pauses and your verbal tics. What are your filler words? Do you self-quote yourself over time? And some of that, you have to be creative in how you use it, but some of it's immediately applicable. Really, for us, it's the analytics in that data, and there's quite a lot of data that we process to be able to enable you to learn things about the actual spoken word and spoken knowledge. And there's organizations like the UN that have over 30 years of archives that aren't analyzed that you can make searchable and available to everyone else now. There's national archives in the US and other countries as well. So, yeah, if you have any questions.